Now, this is simply how you can improve massively in distance running by just running 5 kilometers per day. By the end of this, I'm going to give you the basic structure of what your week will look like, even though you're just running 5 kilometers per day. Now, most of us can run or walk 5 kilometers per day. So if you can give this level of commitment and run for 5 kilometers per day, and I'll go through the structure in a second, then already the primary thing you're getting from this is the discipline and consistency of showing up on a daily basis. And whether that's run, walking, minute on, minute off, whatever it might be, in order to complete that 5K, you are going to move forward. If you're already at a point right now where you can run less than 20 minutes for 5K, this is still going to help you. And I'm going to go into detail about the structure and how this is going to help you and exactly how I would do it if I could just run 5 kilometers and no more every single day. Now here's how I'd do it. I'd split the week into 2 key sessions. The midweek Wednesday interval session, where I'll chop that up in a second, I'll put it into reps and show you just how manageable that can be, but the total volume that you're going to be running is 5 kilometers. And then the weekend long run. And the way that I would make that a weekend long run is the day after the interval session, on the Thursday, the day after the Wednesday interval session, I would take a rest day. You always want a rest day in a 7-day period. And I would take a rest day on the Thursday and put that 5 kilometers into Sunday's long run and make that a 10-kilometer long run. Now, for some of you, that might be a lot. For some of you, that might not be a lot, but once we talk about it specific long run in a second, and how you're going to structure that long run to get the very best out of your long run, then it will make sense and it will propel you forward. If you just get these 2 things right, midweek interval session, weekend long run, and then for the rest of it, I'm going to show you just how easy the recovery runs and the easy runs are going to be, so that you find that this 35 kilometers per week is going to be not only manageable for you, but it's also going to propel you forward to the runner that you're currently not, but you could be. If you follow this set plan for 12 to 13 weeks, you box it off and you make it happen, and then you aim for whether it's 5K, 10K, even a half marathon. I would say personally, for a marathon, you want to be doing longer on the long run. You want to be specifically running long, but running longer than 10 kilometers for the long run in order to run a PB marathon. And in order to put yourself in a place, not just a PB marathon, but put yourself in a place for the marathon where you feel confident going into it, that you can manage the distance so that the day itself, the race, is as enjoyable as possible. Probably the same for a half marathon, but could you do it from this training program? Could you run a half marathon of 35 kilometers per week? Absolutely, no doubt in my mind you can, and I can prove it that you can actually do it. Now, what the week is going to look like is Sunday is the long run. Sunday is the 10-kilometer long run. Thursday is the rest day, day off, don't do anything. Wednesday is 5 kilometers of structured interval session, which means the Monday is the recovery run. Monday is recovery run. So we're just going out there and we go in super slow. We check in that the Sunday long run has gone in. We feel comfortable and confident afterwards that we've been able to nail that session. And we're just literally practicing the style. The arms are coming up to the right height. We're trying to be the best runner we can. So everything is parallel. Toes, ankle, knee, hip is all aligned. The arms are coming up, not too far away from the body. So we're not twisting the torso. It's just practicing running. Recovery run Monday. Then on the Tuesday, it's an easy run. What we want out of that 5 kilometers is for you to start super easy, not so dissimilar to the recovery run, but by the end of the 5K, when you get to the 4K mark, we want you to be doing sort of 8 or 9 or 10 times 100-meter accelerations. So not all out sprints, but we want to prime the body ready to run fast on the interval session on the Wednesday. If we start really slow and easy, it's the bridge. An easy run is the bridge from the recovery run to the faster running, or the bridge from the recovery run to the long running. So your Friday recovery run, then Saturday easy run, is the easy run is the bridge to the longer run, where parts of it will do specific, and I'll come to that in a second. But then the interval session, first of all, we want to warm up properly. And then we're going to take the distance of 5 kilometers and chop it up. And initially, that might look something like 20 times 250 meters. You might want to put it into minutes. You might want to put the whole thing into minutes. So if let's say your current PB is 20 minutes for the 5K, we might say, okay, let's try to work off 30 minutes or 35 minutes per day running, and the long run is going to be 1 hour or 70 minutes. You might prefer to work off minutes. I would always go off time. But if this is distance, and you're only running 5 kilometers per day, and you want this challenge in your head, then let's make it happen. And let's make it happen by focusing on the interval session, which 25 times 200 meters or 20 times 250 meters, and then gradually elongate the interval, the rep length, 300 meters, then 400 meters, maybe something like 12 times 400 meters with 200 meters at the end. So the whole volume is 5 kilometers, and we're starting to increase the pace over the weeks. It's not going to happen 7 days on 7 days. So 1 week after, we're not going to suddenly be faster. Although the overall training, if we go easy enough on our recovery runs and easy enough in our easy runs, we should be able to hit the interval session hard enough and the long run hard enough and hit it proper, so that we're getting the super compensation from those sessions. Even if it's a 10-kilometer long run and it's 5 kilometer total volume in the interval session. The easy runs at 5K and the recovery runs at 5K, as long as we're doing those easy enough, and we're thinking primary focus here is to recover and feel better after the run than the beginning of the run on the recovery run. And pretty much the same on the easy run, apart from you want to not only feel better, but feel by the end of this easy run that tomorrow, Wednesday interval session, I can run fast, or tomorrow's Sunday long run, I can run far, with specific parts of that towards race pace. That's what we want to be feeling. So recovery run, kind of an MOT check. How's the body feeling? How can I make it feel better? Make sure by the end of it that I'm feeling better than when I started. Easy run is the bridge from running recovery to running fast or far. So that's the interval session. To break it up to a point where you can run 5 times a kilometer, and then 2 times 2.5 kilometers eventually. And it's very similar to what I've talked about before, 20 times 1 minute, then 10 times 2 minutes, then 13 times 90 seconds, 4 times 5 minutes, 3 times 7 minutes, 7 times 3 minutes, and then 2 times 10 minutes. Very similar to that, but we're working with distance. And then day after Thursday is a rest day. The day after that is a recovery run. So exactly the same as Monday's recovery run. Has the body taken that session interval and taken all the good stuff out of it? Remember that you're not finished with that interval session and gaining the super compensation until you've completed the next day's recovery or the next recovery session. Then I want to be feeling the back end of that on the Friday, that I feel better than when I started. Then the next day is an easy run on the Saturday. And by the end of that, I want to get to those 8 times 100 meters or 10 times 80 meters accelerations again. So tomorrow I'm fully recovered. I've done my easy run, and now I'm ready to go long again. That's the key. And then in the 10K long run, and that might be too long for you initially. So if your longest run at the moment is 6K, that's what you start at. Start at the long run. The long run is so individual for you. It doesn't matter what you're aiming for, that's in the future. So what you're kind of moving towards, and it might be 6 months away or 12 months away or 2 years away that you want to run a half marathon or marathon. Right now, what is long for you? And how can we make that specific? So initially, we want to just do long, slow distance, which is just you on your feet, again, practicing your running. Am I running in the right style? Am I landing mid-foot? Is my toe, ankle, knee, hip all aligned? Is there any twist in motion? Then how am I feeling during it? Is my breathing under control? Am I nicely in zone 2, meaning that you can hold a conversation? Then what you want to start doing is you may do something like 3 kilometers super easy, and then the final 3 kilometers really easy, which gives us a middle section of 4 kilometers at race pace, whether you're training for a 10 kilometers or a half marathon, or race pace plus 10% slower or 20% slower than race pace, so that the biomechanics of your race are kicking in and they're being used. You're tapping into those, but you're not overdoing it. So you can manage that for 2, 3, 4 kilometers, and that makes the long run specific. It might be that you want to progress that long run into 3K easy, 3K a little bit faster, so maybe 20% slower than your race pace, and then 3K 10% slower, and then the final kilometers at your race pace. So it's a progressive long run, but we're only dealing with distance. We're only dealing with the distance of 10K for the long run, and each day before that, apart from Thursday, which is a rest day, we're just having 5K. And what it does psychologically, by just saying, okay, I'm going out there and I'm only running 5K on most of those days, you're taking 5K from the rest day on Thursday, putting it into Sunday's long run. I get that, but when you're focused on quality, all of a sudden, I've only got 5K to be the best possible runner I can be. I've only got 5K to recover here, so I've got to recover as optimally as I can do. Exactly the same with the easy run, with the interval session as well. You've got 5K to really get the super compensation, to learn how to move fast, to learn to gather that speed, to get the speed endurance. And that's gonna nicely feed back into my long run. I've only got 10K on my long run in order to get this endurance. And what you end up doing is getting more out of your miles, getting more out of your kilometers. If you start to think like that you want more of each of your runs, you're already doing the week or the daily deposit. You're already doing the reps. You're already getting out there and making it happen. So if you can just go out there and make it happen, you've only got 5K to play for, all of a sudden quality becomes a big factor. And as you move forward, and start to increase the distances, and maybe on a recovery run, you only ever do 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. The same with an easy run, 40 to 50 minutes, maybe an hour. You've got more to play with, so you're still focused on quality. Focus will always be on quality, but you've got more distance, and therefore you're building more endurance. Super important, and exactly the same with the interval session. Now you've got a little bit more volume to deal with as you increase the distance later on, but you know what quality feels like. You know what it feels like to get the very best of each rep. And that's how you should be thinking about running. You should be thinking, how can I make the best minute runner? How can I be the best runner I possibly can, the best style for the next minute? And that's gonna make you a better runner just by focusing, really laser-like focus on your style, on how to box off each individual run. Recovery run, easy run, interval session, and long run. Good luck with that. And if you're getting anything from these videos, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you've got any questions specifically about this video or any others, please pop them in the comments below.